Yo, what's going on? Justice Severin here from the Original Chapters. Pumped to have you back here for a topic that I love here around a units framework that I developed. It's all around the sales side and what's really going to help you to effectively craft an offer on the spot that's going to allow you to really hit the sweet spot of a prospect when you're going ahead and delivering an offer to them. Okay, so go ahead, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below to make sure we got you in tune with us and rocking down the line. This is a live stream I did straight out of my Original Chapters Facebook group, and really I want to make sure we get you diving into these principles because they will change your business. So let's get you rolling here today. Let's just go ahead and really get down to it. As you can kind of see here, and let's just make sure I'm still live and in action. Perfect here, perfect. So, like I said, you guys know what the topic is today. If you saw when you were jumping in here, if you didn't, now you do. Just like I was mentioning, we're talking unit sales framework here, right? This is a framework that we're using, like I said, in our business to really quickly and effectively craft an offer that's going to be most beneficial to a prospect and really just increase those conversions, right? That's really what I want to show you and just give you that behind the scenes look at what I'm doing in my business here. So I have to be frank before we even get into this, right? And like I said, any questions you got, like I said, feel free to drop them in the comments throughout. I'll make sure to respond to them after, while I'm live here, obviously, so you can kind of get that live Q&A feel if we need. But I want to, like I said, kind of give you guys everything while we're sitting here. So, like I said here, units, I have to be frank and say, you have to have the prerequisite down for this framework to really work most effectively, I would say, to really do the framework justice here, right? Not, excuse the pun, but that's really what we're trying to get going. So first and foremost, you need an audience, right? So you have to be someone who right now is currently building an audience. And the beautiful part about this is it doesn't really matter if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, blogging, as long as you're getting to the point where you can at least have some kind of a direct messaging conversation, right? And I say more so a one-to-one. I don't mean specifically have to be texting or typing or DMing or anything like that. But as long as you can get to that point, that's really where this can go most effectively. So in order to have that happen, you have to have an audience here. Plain and simple, right? Now, branding and a lead generation strategy. You have to also be building a brand to do this most effectively as well here. So if you are someone who maybe has an audience, and chances are if you have an audience, I hope at least you're bringing some branding to that. So you should be, 1 and 2, I would say, are almost tied together, but I want to make sure that you're aware of that there. And of course, when you have strong branding, that lead generation strategy is going to come in hand that much smoother, right? And now all of a sudden it's going to be more effective. You can start bringing in cold leads and warm leads and now get you to that second half, right? Strong qualifying process, a must for this. I feel like the second half, like I said, to me, really, these prerequisites. There's one more I'm going to drop here, but to me, these are like the first half of the process, right? This is, once again, a lot of heavy lifting has to be done here. But the latter half, and that's really the kind of the part we're going to lean on most today, right? Really, I'm talking, you have to get the audience, the branding, the lead generation. You have to be able to qualify these leads so you're not wasting your time and actually being efficient and spending the most time with the best people, right? And, I'm not saying they have to be the best people as in, they all got to be 5 stars. But at the end of the day, you just want to make sure you're protecting your time because a lot of us are working a job when we're doing this, at least starting off. And so now, I was working my accounting job when I was first running my business, and I was able to get some solid success there. And I had to make sure I was efficient with my time and not just wasting it with every single person. So just take that as it is. I'm sure if you know, you don't, you don't. And if you don't, you're going to get to learn before you know it. So that's why it's a crucial part there. And of course, you have to have the sales process down, right? And really, you can kind of see there, I put the sales process A to M. And I did that intentionally because, like I said, it's that first half, right? A to M, first half of the alphabet here. We're going to focus now on that latter half here, especially today. So like I said, if you really want to make sure that this is going to be that much more effective in your business, you have to have these pieces down. And if this is something that's already kind of new to you on its own, I have plenty of trainings here inside the group that kind of speak on, honestly, every single piece that you're seeing on here. And I have more in-depth pieces too if you want to reach out and let me know as well. But really, you have to have this piece down, right? So that's kind of why if we want this units framework to be most successful, you have to have these pieces layered in. And then they can be, like I said, take it to that next piece. And now it's not much more of a smooth transition over. So hopefully this is making sense. I'm going to double check in the comments before I keep going. Perfect. Like I said, if this is making sense, like I said, hit that like button if you haven't. I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. Let's keep this thing moving. Right. So with that being said, let's go back over here. And now I want to show you really what this units framework is, right? So let's kind of go one piece by one here. So number one for the U, untraditional rapport, right? And I'm going to go over all these more depth here, but I just want to kind of highlight each one real quick. So untraditional rapport, first and foremost, narrowing in on pain points, inclusive offers, right? Timely execution, and sell their future. All right. So that being said, like I said, I want to go ahead and just kind of give you this overview of where we're heading. But once again, obviously, I want to really now kind of talk a little bit more on each one, so we're going to be that much clearer as far as the direction we're trying to take this thing in our business, right? Because as you can see, really, these are all crucial pieces, but they mean nothing if you don't know how to use them effectively. All right. So now let's kind of jump in and kind of speak one by one here. So untraditional rapport. Really, when I say this here, you see it all the time where people are just talking about you have to build up relationships. You have to build up, I'm not going to say the word guilty, but I like to call what I do more so relationship marketing than organic marketing, right? But that term can be very misinterpreted a lot of the time when people are talking about building rapport. And I think that a lot of the time too, when I talk about being efficient with your time, you're going to hurt yourself if you are spending too much time building that traditional rapport with leads, no matter whether it's in the leads process or you're deeper down the sales process, kind of in that N to Z area, right? That's kind of where this is lying heavily on. So if that's the case right now for you, where you feel like you have to build up so much traditional rapport, and really, if we're getting specific, traditional rapport is how you doing, where you from, how old are your kids, what's your favorite food. I'm sure you see where I'm going with this, right? A lot of people feel like you have to, and obviously I'm touching the surface here, but at the end of the day, you have to just get deeper than that, and in a way that's going to really show off that you are building rapport naturally in a way that's actually moving you down the line, right? Too many people are just talking about how you have to kind of build those connections. You got to tell, crack some dad jokes while you're in Messenger, right? It's deeper than that there. I'm not saying that these pieces aren't helpful, but you have to have something that's going to actually bring you through and not just leave you in the friend zone, right? We all know how that can be, right? If you're building too much traditional rapport with a guy or a gal you got a crush on, and you just keep on staying there, kind of keep on, just being extremely friendly, never actually being direct, chances are someone else is going to scoop in before you, or they'll just see you as that friend forever, right? So really going beyond the obvious when it comes to rapport there, right? Let's get some confidence in our strategy here and really dive deeper than that. The next piece here, narrow in on pain points, right? I say this all the time. If you haven't heard me say it before, I'll say it again. Can be no transformation without pain, right? Without pain, there's no transformation. This is plain and simple. This is why we really have to understand what is going on with the prospect, with the lead, in order to be most effective with how we can continue throughout our sales process here, right? You can kind of consider if the untraditional rapport is N, we're now nearing the O here. I'm not going to do this because I haven't cracked the average down in the letters here because that's not important, but roll with me here. I'm sure it makes sense a little bit. So really, without these pain points, I'm going to put a large emphasis. I put the pain in red there, as you can see, because really, I want to jump out at you. At the end of the day, without this, I'll say it again, there can be no transformation without pain. So a lot of the times when you're in there getting into your conversations, and even later on, let's just say you go ahead and you start to getting to the offer stage, and you're making these offers, and you haven't found out what their true pains are, there's going to be a tough time really hitting home as far as actually making sense to what's going to be most helpful for them, right? And honestly, this ties into a lot of other pieces here, which is why this piece is, I cannot underemphasize this piece right here at all, because really it just has to be hammered in, right? Like I said, without transformation, without pain, there's no transformation. So once again, I hope that piece is really hitting home for you guys there. And even anytime throughout this, drop that hashtag value if this is hitting home a little bit here for you guys. And definitely hit the love button. Like I said, if you're not getting value, don't hit the love button. But if this is hitting home a little bit and hitting some spots here, let me know and hit that love button there. So really the next piece after that, once we've narrowed in on those pain points, right? Now we have to create a unique offer every single time, right? And what do I mean by really doing that? When I say unique offer every single time, a lot of people go into a situation where at the end of the day, they know that they have an offer and they're going to present it to somebody, right? It doesn't matter because once again, every offer has a list of features to it, right? And when I say a list of features, I mean every offer has something where it comes with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, continuing, right? Maybe it goes up to Q because there's that many features in it, right? But when I really talk about a unique offer every single time. You need to craft this offer. It's going to be the same features across the board. You need to speak to the benefits when you're talking to somebody, because these benefits are going to be directly related to number 2 there. They're going to be directly related to the end. Narrowing, and once you've narrowed on those pain points, this inclusive offer has to be made directly for them, right? And this is something you have to get good at, because it's not just, I'm not just talking about sales calls here. I'm not just talking about Messenger. I'm talking about whenever you are presenting any kind of an offer to somebody, whether it's for free, whether it's something that they're paying for, if the more that you can start to hammer in on that, the more effective it's going to be. You're going to see the conversion rate on whatever it is increase drastically when you add that piece right there, right? And once you start to gain, I don't like using the word tactics, but once you can really start to handle that tactic of knowing how to handle this and not just speak to those features, as we mentioned before, it's going to be that much more impactful for your business there, right? So really, I hope that piece hits you as well. And then past that, timely execution, right? With the timely execution here, like I say, you got to keep your ear to the door, right? Why do I say it there? What do I mean by that there? At the end of the day, picture it like this, right? Sometimes we can miss a lot of telltale signs in our business, in our conversations, in whatever it is it may be, right? And if right now, I always say, when you're starting something off, you're going to suck at something, if I'm being black and white about it, right? As you continue to get better, you start to pick up on signs, right? I always say, when any of my clients or students I'm working with, if you are working on content from day one, messages from day one, whatever it may be, 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, a year down the line, all that work you've been doing while you've been earning, while you learn and getting some success, is going to prepare you for what's to come ahead, right? It's going to prepare you so that when you see something, you know exactly how to execute on it, right? You know exactly how to pivot if someone gives you a sign, right? It's kind of like one of those, when in doubt, lean out when it comes to a sales situation, right? When in doubt, lean out. How do you know? You don't know if you don't know. But if you know and you hear something that's like, okay, you know what? I can see the signs. I need to back away, right? So when I see it by this, keep your ear to the door, right? I really mean, make sure you're listening closely, right? Picture when you're trying to listen in on someone's conversation on the other side of the door there. I got the door behind me. Maybe someone else right there, one of my kids, is trying to listen through the door. They can probably listen when they're out. There's a couch out there. Maybe they can hear it from there. But if they really want to hear me right now, they go up and they put their ear to the door. They're going to really understand and really hear what's going on. And now it's going to be able to, okay, you know what? I don't just kind of hear it. I can really hear it. So listen to the signs, right? I say this, I'm trying to put it this way so it's very clear, because at the end of the day, it sounds simple. And maybe you're like, this doesn't even make any sense, right? So to me, maybe it sounds simple. If you're following me, it sounds simple. But at the end of the day, take this practice and put it into what you're doing. A lot of us are really having conversations. If you're like me, I have conversations with people every single day. And even when I was starting off and not having any success, I was still having conversations every day, improving and sharpening those skills. And now I'm learning and finding out what signs I need to look for, right? What signs I really need to look for, understand how I need to pivot, how I need to handle it when a certain things happen. Because the more times you've seen it, I say it all the time, conversations are the same but different, right? At the end of the day, you're going to see so many of the same things, just in a slightly different fashion. Maybe I'm talking to somebody who's I'm not going to go location-wise, but in reality, I'm talking to somebody who uses this type of wording, and somebody else says this type of wording, right? Someone says that I'm slow with this, someone says I'm slow with that. They're the same thing, they're just wording it a little differently. So understand and read these signs so that now you can be more effective and efficient, because this is also helping when it comes to qualifying people as well. This piece right here, just listening and really truly listening, right? It's like when someone you call somebody a good listener, right? At the end of the day, everybody can listen, right? It's like, what's a good listener? But there are people we know out there who are great listeners and actually listen to you when you're talking to them. And there are some crappy listeners, like people out there you're trying to tell a story to, and they could care less, and they're on to the next one, right? Don't be that person who's could care less. Don't be the latter. Be the person who's genuinely listening and trying to see how you can help out. This is going to help out when you're narrowing those pain points as well, and to create that inclusive offer, right? Last point right here, sell their future, right? What happens if everything remains the same? This piece I really want to speak on, because at the end of the day here, when it comes down to really, as you can see it through this point, we've dug deep, we've made an inclusive offer, We've done our timely execution on when we're going to make that offer or when we're going to actually, just reading the signs. And then at that point, once we've made that offer out there, now we have to handle objections most of the time. It's almost, I'll tell you right now, if you think you're going to give someone your link and they're just going to buy, you're I was going to say you're a fool, because that's how I truly feel. Because at the end of the day, I see so many people out there just getting in a conversation and throwing a link out there. It's like, what do you think's going to happen there, right? And I understand, I've been guilty to probably saying on some lives in the past, it's a numbers game. It's like, that could, no matter how true that may be, it's deeper than that, right? I always like the analogy more so it's a percentage, right? At the end of the day, I'm always just trying to do what I can to increase that percentage, right? So when that's the case, it's all the little things that add up, right? So yeah, maybe you and I are both talking to 50 people, and maybe out of 50 people, you can close one. But what if I'm doing something, all the little things that are helping me to close 5, right? So that's really, now when it comes down to this objection handling, be able to really speak to people on, this is why, once again, all the narrowing your pain points is so crucial, right? Because now when you're selling that future, you can truly understand where it is they're coming from right now. If you don't do a lot of these pieces in advance leading up to this point, when the objection handling starts to kick in, you have zero leverage, right? You have zero leverage because you haven't done your job as far as knowing, qualifying them. That's even why I talk about qualifying before you get to this stage, right? While you're in the A to M, you have to qualify enough to understand where they're truly at, right? Because if you don't, and you actually are not starting to handle objections, you're starting to come off as someone who's desperate, someone who's clearly too attached to the sale, and somebody who is just not coming off as genuine at all, because you genuinely don't know the situation, right? So like I said, really, and once again, I could go in so much deeper on every single one of these, but I really want to just put this highlight here, because honestly, if you at least have this core, keep this in mind. It's going to serve you so well. Now, imagine when you get into your next conversations, right? And maybe subconsciously you're aware of this, and a lot of times I realize that subconsciously I'm doing something, but then if I just jot it down, realize I put it down like this, it just all of a sudden that much more clear to me, right? I think about the same with my ecosystem. It comes down to how I'm actually bringing in leads to my business. It allows me to kind of focus on what matters most and where the actual most amount of leads are coming from, so I know what to put the most energy in. And like I said, if you're working a 9-to-5 job, working some business on the full time while you're doing this on the side, this stuff becomes 10 times more crucial. So, like I said, I really hope that this is hitting home here, honestly. At the end of the day, like I said, this is something that I'm using every day in my business. And realistically, it's just the kind of thing, like I mentioned before, you keep on sharpening it time after time, right? This is where I've gone from, literally going from, like I said, I had a ton of terrible months when I was first starting, right? And then that led me to my first, like I said, 15K month. Last month in September, I guess that was, feels like 2 months ago now, time flies. September was a 50K month, right? It's like, when you use these things properly and consistently, things can truly take off in your business. So like I said, I really hope this helps a lot here. Honestly, if you got some value here, like I said, drop the hashtag value, hashtag knowledge, hit the heart button. I'm hoping this is going to help a lot of people inside of here and allow you to think at a deeper level when you're handling these conversations, right? And so on top of that as well, I definitely want to let you guys know that I am running a 2-day boot camp breaking down this framework, honestly, with real world examples, but even past that, as well as my complete sales process from A to Z. Right, on real, like I said, how I've been able to qualify leads and really convert them into high ticket sales consistently in my business from all of 2021 at this point, right? So with that being said, if you guys want access to that, definitely let me know and drop a hashtag units down below, and I'll go ahead and I'll reach out to you with some details and see if it's a good fit to get you guys rolling. So like I said, feel free to drop that hashtag units below and I will get you hooked up. But past that, like I said, I really hope this stuff hits you guys. And if you have any questions, I'm going to go check the comment section now. But any questions, feel free to drop them in. I'm here for you guys. I wanted to make sure that at least I went through this to make sure that this is hitting home and you can have an understanding of really what maybe you may be overlooking that could be causing you to let these leads slip through the crack, right? Right when you get to the XYZ, right? Or maybe even right before, you could still be messing up at N, right? So that's why I really want to dial that in there. So I'm going to take a quick look, see what kind of questions we have here. Oh, good. There we go. I'm glad to see we got some value here. Oh, shoot. Nice to see you here, Joe. Great to see you here, Jeanette. Oh, I love it. Let me know if you guys have any questions here. Like I said, I'm going to keep my eye out as well. Like I said, just make sure that you're being, and like I said, each little piece, as you get into this and you start executing it, it can be that much more critical and get you that much further in your business as you continue that. So Like I said, definitely, I'll wait around another second here to make sure there's any questions. But really, I can't underestimate this stuff, honestly. Sean, great to see you getting some value here, man. Seriously. Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, untraditional rapport, narrow in those pain points, make an inclusive offer that's unique every single time you make it, right? If you're talking to Sarah one day and you're talking to Oscar one day, the next day, they should not be delivered in the same fashion, right? It has to be unique every single time you make it there. So I'm telling you, please make sure you do that. Inclusive offers, timely execution, and sell their future. Have an understanding. You have to understand where they want to be, where they're at. In order to do that effectively, you have to do these with the first unit, right, correctly. So here we go. So I see Hayden dropped a question here. What was the biggest thing that changed your business in the beginning? Great question there. The biggest thing that changed my business in the beginning, I would have to say, in reality, if I talk about, you know what? Like, there's obviously a bunch of little things that helped get me there, right? I could easily talk about, switching away from paid ads and going to more of an organic relationship marketing style. I could talk about how getting a mentor at the time helped. But even past that, if I think about what was some of the stuff that really got me from, once again, my first 1K month, 2K month to 15K month, that 2K to 15 gap, to me, that was really understanding how to pre-frame, right? Understanding that it mattered more so what happened before I even, whether it was getting, and even, I'll be honest for myself, I was more so the kind of person who's getting on calls more so than closing high ticket sales on Messenger. Like, I'm not saying that you can't close high ticket sales on Messenger, but for me, if you got the time, why not? I think that there's a big stigma out there all about never jump on a phone call. It's like, if you have time, it can increase your chances. Why not? Right? Is it a pride thing? Right? So I just want to make that point clear first off. But really, more importantly, before I even made an offer, is that I was pre-framing the situation. And so even when it comes down to the pre-framing, really what I mean there is, making sure that before you actually get to the point where somebody's on the phone with you or speaking to you, having a more deeper sales conversation, you're actually understanding, they understand and can see that you're someone who can help them. Which honestly, that kind of kicks back to that number one here, the untraditional rapport, right? Rapport, and when I say that, I honestly mean things that go deeper than just showing them how you're somebody who they can have a beer with. That's great too. Honestly, people buy from people at the end of the day. But in reality, you want people to understand that you're deeper than that, right? You want people to understand that you're someone who can genuinely help them. So that's really, and the more you can prove that, provide that truth to them without just saying, hey, I'm an expert, then the more effective it's going to be by the time you get to the offer stage. So I think that was probably the biggest thing. And that's a lot of time why I say too, once you can keep pushing yourself to get to that first high ticket sale, get to that next high ticket sale, because now the leverage is starting to grow in your business, right? So yeah, I see. Oh, there we go. Hey, and I see you dropped the value there. That's what I love to see there, man. Honestly, yeah, really, that's probably the biggest thing. Like I said, I'm seeing these comments. Like I said, great to see the value side. Hit the like button, hit the love button if you got some true value here. Just like I said, I want to make sure in the group are seeing this. I'll wait around for another question if anyone's got one. Thank you for dropping that, Hayden. I think that's gonna be really helpful for a lot of people there. I'm glad to see it helped you out there. Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, a big piece of this, obviously, like as I said before, you gotta have the prerequisite down, right? That's without a doubt. So for somebody who maybe you're thinking, how can I really get to the point where I'm actually at where I'm making an offer to people? That's another piece where, once again, I've got free trainings in here to talk about that. I've got other pieces that can really help you with that too. But at the end of the day, once you get this down, this is when this becomes 10x more powerful, right? I think that's why a lot of times, and it speaks right to it as well, because if this part isn't down, this is a lot of this, the branding, right? The branding and the audience building. Once you can really have that messaging that dials into your audience, that shows that you know what the heck you're talking about, right? And not past that. Obviously, as you can imagine, it gets easier once you get results, right? Luckily, I did have some results, even though I felt like I was, man, just going and going without getting results. I had my first 1K month. I had my first 2K month. It wasn't much, but it was leverage. It was proof of concepts, right? Proof that I knew what I was doing. Proof that I had seen results, no matter how big or small. And now that at least plants a stronger seed, right? I'm sure I'm not a big landscape guy, but at the end of the day, I know that there's some seeds out there that you can plant where maybe only 50%, or that's a high number, maybe only 5% are actually going to bloom when the time comes, right? But what if you can go ahead and pick a more effective seed, right? Pick a plant where actually 50% of them are going to germinate, right? That's the same way I want you to see in this right here. The stronger you can have on that side, the more effective it's going to be once you get to the end result and then present that offering. So like I said, I really hope this hit home for you guys. I love to see, I'm seeing people hit the like button. Love seeing people here live, honestly. I'll make sure to keep doing these. As you all know, I'm here every week. So drop your questions in the group. Let me know if you got any questions, but great to see you guys here and implement this stuff, right? Like I say all the time, I'm really glad to see that you're here getting value, but at the end of the day, implementing is the best thank you I can see, honestly. So keep going strong there. Like I said, I don't see any more questions, so I'll let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday or whatever day you may be watching this. And I'll see you next time. All right, take care, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching this video all the way through. Make sure you go ahead and like this if you got a ton of value from, which I hope you did. Subscribe to the channel and absolutely go ahead and join us in our Original Chapters community. Links right down there in the description. And as always, you are designed to become who you choose to be. I'll see you later.